Hi everyone, you're welcome to my channel. So today we'll be drafting the basic skirt, and this skirt here is the short skirt that is from your waist to the nail length or a bit above the nail. So here I have this line drawn out from this top here to this hem. That is the length of the skirt measurement I'm using, and for this skirt is a short skirt. For this skirt I'm using length 23 here. From the top here to this place is 23. Then for the wideness of the skirt, you can see that I've divided the boxes into two. So the first box here is my hip, the hip measurement I'm using. The hip measurement is 45. So if I divide 45 by 4, that will give me 10.5. So on this box here, on this side here, I have 10.5 for my front pattern, and then this for my back pattern. So this is half of the front and this is half of the back. Remember, we normally cut our fabric on fold. So we are going to draft half of the front here and half of the back here. So the first thing we'll do is from the very top side, we'll measure the hip measurement. So most of the time the hip measurement is usually between 8 and 10. So I'm going to put 8 and 10, the mark for 8 and 10 here. On the center line here, I'm going to put 8 and 10. And side back here, I'm going to put the 8 and the 10 here. So I'm going to roll it out. That's the hip measurement for that's the hip line for the front and the back draft, like that. So now that we have the hip line here, the next one we have this is the hem line. So now we are going to measure this here is going to be our waistline. The top line here is going to be the waistline. So on this waistline here, we are going to divide the waist measurement by 4. The waist measurement we are using for this pattern is waist 34. If you divide 34 by 4, you get 8.5. So from this center front here, I'm going to measure 8.5. My 8.5 will get to this point, but I'm going to add 1 inch because of my dart. I'm going to add 1 inch for the dart allowance. And where I have my dart allowance, I will go up. Where I have the last point, I will go up by ½ inch, like that. And then I will connect to the side like that. That's the waist, the side here, the hip line here. I'm going to connect it to the hip line like that. So on this line here, I'm going to look for the midpoint from this place to this place. I'm going to look for the midpoint. I like to do this to get my midpoint. So here, this is where I have my midpoint for this measurement. And the midpoint is like 4.75. So I will come here and mark the same 4.75 because I want to have a straight line from the top, like that. Okay, but I'm not going to mark it to the very end. I'm going to come up by 3 inches. I'm going to stop at 3 inches, like that. From the hip line, I went up by 3 inches. And then on the dart line here, I'm going to take ½ inch on both sides and connect the ½ inch to this line, like that. Okay, so let's go to the hem line. So what you have on your hip line, you can decide to leave it and have a straight skirt. That is if you don't want any shape at the bottom side. But if you want it to be a little bit curvy, then on the hem side here, you can come in by 1 inch, 2 inches, depending on what you want. But for this draft, I'm going to use 1 inch. And then you get your ruler and connect from this second hip line to that 1 inch, like that. So this is it for the front skirt. It's very simple and it's very easy to get. So for the back, this is the back. On this side, on the back here, we'll come in by 1/2 inch from the center back. This is the center back where you have your zip. If you're going to put your zip, and then from that 1/2 inch, you will connect to the hip line this way. You connect to the hip line this way. Then from that 1/2 inch that you took in, we will mark the waist measurement we are using. Remember, the waist measurement is 8.5, but because of the 1 inch depth allowance, I'm going to have 9.5 here. And then the 9.5, I will connect it to the hip line like this. And then on this same line, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch, the same thing we did in front, like that. This 1/2 inch will help to give your skirt the balance by the side. So the next thing we'll do here is to look for the midpoint. I'm starting from away from this 1/2 inch allowance here to this side, and then I'm going to look for the center point here. From the center point, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on both sides for my dart intake. Because I want to have a straight line here, I'm just going to measure everything I have from this center back, from the very center line to the center dart leg. And here I have 5.4 thereabouts. So here I'm going to come here and mark 5 like that to get my straight line for this dart. So this is the back dart. So for the back dart, you go up by 2 inches. You go up by 2 inches. Remember, for the front dart, we went up by 3 inches, but for the back dart, it's usually longer. So you go up by 2 inches and connect it to this center dart. Here you open up the dart by the 1/2 inch on both sides, like that. And then on the hem for the back side, remember we came in here by 1 inch. So we have to have a balance for the skirt. So this 1 inch here, I'm going to share it on both sides, both the center back and the side back. So on this side, I will take away 1/2 inch, and on this side, I will take 1/2 inch. That is 1. Still the same one we took from this place. If I have taken out 2 inches from this place, then it means I will share the 2 inches on the back pattern. 1 inch on this side and then 1 inch on this side. I hope you understand that. Then I'm going to connect that 1/2 inch to the, I'm going to connect it to this hip line this way. And then from here, from the center back, I'm going to connect the 1/2 inch this way. I hope you can see that. So the next thing we will do is, for us to have a proper balance, you come in here by 1 inch. This is the front. You come in by 1 inch, and then you connect the line here. You connect this line here, this 0.5 inch to the first dart line here, and then this 1/2 inch, you connect it all the way to this place. If you want, you can use your curved ruler to do that. Connect from here to this place. It's just going to help give your skirt a proper balance in front. It's going to eliminate any form of squeeze in front here. So for this one here, we are going to also connect this 1/2 inch we went up by to this first that leg, like that. So for this pattern, this is what we have for the basic pattern. Now we want to assume that this pattern, we are using it for a stretchy fabric. So I want you to pay attention to this. If you are making a skirt and you are using a stretchy fabric, you don't need any side allowance. You don't need any side allowance. And most of the time, you don't even need a zip or a zipper allowance. All you just need to do is to cut out this pattern and then just sew it, just join it. Remember, you're going to cut the front part on fold. When you open it, you will have the full front. You will join it to the back pattern. Now, coming to the bottom part, you may decide to add your sewing. You can add your sewing allowance 1 inch on the hem line, like that. So this 1 inch, you can serge the fabric and then turn it once in for a neat finishing at the bottom. For the top here, now you can decide to use a bias binding to turn it in, because most of the time you don't use lining for a stretchy fabric. Most of the time, there are exceptions, but most of the time you don't use lining. So you can use your bias binding to turn it in. And you can also have a band. So if you want to have a band, what you will do is you would cut off this pattern, and once it is cut off, you will place this edge on another paper. You will place it, you place another paper on it, and you will trace it out. You will trace out the shape of the skirt. When you trace out the shape of the skirt, you will increase it by the number of bands you want, like 2 inches, and then that is what you're going to use to cut your band. I have a stretchy fabric here. I have a skirt here. You can see this is a stretchy fabric. This is a stretchy fabric. So all you just need to do is just to serge the hem and turn it in like this. This is the front, this is the back. You can see that it does not have any zip, but it's going to enter because it is stretchy. And for this one here, it has a band. So you can put your band, you just use your measurement, your waist measurement for the band, and then you can add elastic to it. There is a 2 inches elastic inside. You add the 2 inches elastic, or even reduce the elastic by 2, your waist measurement by 2, and then you add it to it, and it's going to come out nicely. I have another tutorial on how to make a basic skirt, but this time around, this basic skirt is going to have a vent, because this time around we would assume we are not using the stretchy fabric. So this other pattern I have on my video, this pattern has a vent at the back. It has a zip allowance, and it's also with a bum lift. Yes, a bum lift. If you're making a skirt for someone that is endowed at the back and you want to give the person a comfortable fit at the back, that's the draft has a tutorial on how to use a bum lift. It has a bum lift, it has a zipper allowance, and it has a back vent. So if you have enjoyed this tutorial, I want you to please subscribe. It's going to encourage me to do more, and you can go and watch my other videos. Thank you so much. Have a splendid day.